fight's not over.
Stop the fight!
People.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king. Kill everybody. Ah!
All right, what's up, guys? We are back with our full card predictions for Dos Anjos versus Fiziev. But first, we're going to get into a quick recap since we didn't get to recap 276. We're just going to go through our bets and some of the big fights. And feel free to skip ahead on the time markers in the description or in the comments, and we'll head over to those full card picks soon. But to start off with UFC 276, what's up, dude?
How we doing, my man?
Doing good. We had a great week last week.
Yeah, we did.
And back to the winning ways. So let's get into the straight bets. Or I guess, first of all, we went positive for 4.4 units, and I think that's our biggest week to date on just our trying to be consistent record. In our straight bets, I picked Duplessis early, got that line, and he really showed up in rounds 2 and 3. Strickland got knocked out fast. You know, I thought he would mix in that grappling. He didn't.
Yeah, you would think that he would I guess not.
But I don't regret that pick still. Turner made such quick work. What a steal for the line we got him. And I thought Cerrone was honestly winning the fight until he slipped. So, I don't know, hard to say how that fight would have ended, but, you know, still winning other stuff this week. To go down to the parlays, absolute cash on the parlays this week. All three of our boys hit. Volk put on a hell of a performance. Probably one of the best title fight performances I've seen. It was so one-sided in my opinion. Izzy's fight was an absolute snooze fest.
Yeah, what's new with him?
Dude, the whole problem with him is his whole entire mentality is keeping the gold versus showing that he deserves the gold. And I think people are starting to see that all he cares about is being the champ, but not actually, you know, proving that he's the guy. And that's why a lot of people think they're going to be picking Pereira in that next matchup.
Including me.
Yeah. Muniz got it done. Gary looked really good. Pieced the boy up and gave green. O'Malley, I think he was on his way to victory. With round 2, he definitely sped up his fighting. Round 1 could have gone either way. And that parlay came through. Gary decision, that was an easy call. He had a knockdown, but it never was really close to a knockout, in my opinion. You had your Muniz call here.
Yeah, I mean, Paul's goal that fight was not to get submitted, and he accomplished that. Good job, Hall.
Yeah, I thought you had the right pick with the sub. I mean, it was close to happening a couple times, but then we move on to Sean, which got voided. Robbie Lawler and Brian Barberino we thought was going to go the distance, and we knew it was me fireworks, but, you know, Robbie just got caught once, and it took the breath away from him, and then he just got caught 10 more times, and, you know, it happens. Turner finish, that was great odds, and we were hyped up for that one, quick win. He's just going to keep moving his way up that lightweight ladder. Volk Holloway split was just maybe if in case Volk just didn't do as well, a little covering our ass there. And then Sean by sub, but then again he didn't mix in the grappling. And then to finish off the night with these prop parlays, I had the distance and the co-main, that was easy. Barber and I over 2.5, that was pretty easy. And then finally I had that big parlay going together for Sean by decision and Gary by decision. And since that top one voided, we just got an extra little bang for our buck, so that was nice. And yeah, let's get into the rest of the picks here. Okay, for our next fight, our first fight of the night, we have Ronnie Lawrence versus Sayubed Kakhramonov. In this one, I just like Lawrence a little bit more. To talk about Lawrence, he's got that strong wrestling background. He's got okay stand-up, but what really stands out to me is that he doesn't have very great defensive striking. He doesn't protect his chin that well. He's got a smaller head. I think he probably will get knocked out in the future by somebody. For Kakhramonov on the other side, he's got really good wrestling, but doesn't really use it offensively. He fought Umar Nurmagomedov and actually defended most of the takedowns Umar threw at him, but typically didn't really try to do anything with his positions. He's not very active striker or active fighter. And in this one, I just think Ronnie will be able to keep range and either knock him out on the feet or take this to a decision. But the scare and the way to win for Kakhramonov in this one is going to be, I think, a submission. We might see Lauren shoot, and he has very good timing on his takedowns. We might see him shoot into a guillotine, and I think that's maybe his one way to lose. Or, like I said, that bad defensive striking. But I got to stick with Ronnie Lawrence, where I think he's got more advantages here. And I'm going to pick him by decision. Okay, in our next fight, we have Kennnedy Nzechukwu versus Karl Roberson. In this one, we're looking at a striking matchup in Kennnedy, who's kind of just a little bit of a brawler, big guy, versus a kickboxer in Karl Roberson. Who do you like here, guy?
Yeah, we are going with Nzechukwu, and most likely by a first-round knockout.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty shocked about how the line's sitting on this right now. I don't see how Karl Roberson has too many ways to victory here. He's a former middleweight, and Kennnedy is a massive 205er. Given he doesn't have the best technical ability, but as some of you may have forgotten or may remember, even we've talked about last week, Carlos Ulberg fought Kennnedy Nzechukwu, and he took all the damage that Carlos threw at him and then knocked him out in round 2. I have a really hard time seeing Karl step into range and do that. I don't know if you see that as well. It's just...
Yeah, I don't see Karl knocking Kennnedy out, but Karl's been finished in his last 3 fights, which is not a good sign.
And yeah, this big weight class, Kennedy's got a 4-inch height advantage and a 9-inch reach advantage. I don't think he uses his reach perfectly, but he fucking has way more power here. And his most recent loss, that was the weirdest fight decision ever. So he fought this guy, which it should have been a draw. In round 1, I think Nick won, and then rounds 2 and 3, Nzechukwu won. And I think even there's a debate for a 10-8 round. And I don't know how the Nick guy got the decision. I thought that was supposed to be a draw. He got knocked out versus Daun Jung, who's actually pretty fucking good. But I think the level of competition, the size, and a bunch of these things that factor in, we got to stick with Kennnedy here. And we'll be betting Kennnedy money line, and that will be out on the Instagram. You can see that bet slip. Okay, for our next matchup, we have Cody Brundage versus Tresean Gore. Who do you like here?
We will be going with Tresean Gore here, and you like a knockout, don't you?
Yeah, he was on Tough. I think I've gotten to see his fights quite a bit. Obviously, we've seen some of the highlights, but also some of the red flags that come with him. What do you like and dislike about the guy?
Well, he's so inactive sometimes. It can be hard to root for the guy because he's just so inactive. But we like him in this one and think he'll get what round knockout do you think?
I think 2. Like you said, like his activity, he likes to play with his food almost. He won't throw a ton of shots together, but when that left hook or that overhand comes, it's a lot of intent with it. And Cody Brundage in his most recent fight fought I can't pronounce his name, I don't think. Dalcha. I'm not gonna try the last name, but Dalcha rocked him in that first round. He was looking like a deer in headlights, and he kind of landed on the somewhat lucky guillotine and got that win. but he really looked like a deer in headlights. And I really just think Tresean has that defensive wrestling to keep himself out of those scenarios. If we want to look at Tresean's most recent loss, that's against Brian Battle. That was a close fought fight. Brian Battle definitely won it, but Brian Battle, I think, got knocked down in that round 1. He took a lot of damage. And if Tresean just, again, he holds that power, if he's patient but also puts his hands together, he'll get that round 2 knockout. And another guy I'll bet on in this card. Anything else from you?
Nope.
Okay, for our next one, we have Antonina Shevchenko versus Courtney Casey. These girls don't really have great records, but they're okay for women's MMA. Antonina Shevchenko, she has basic stand-up. I mean, she has that Muay Thai background, but her hands really aren't good. I like her clinch game, and I like her ability to hold people down sometimes in awkward positions on the ground. But overall, I don't see any way to bet this fight. I'm gonna pick Antonina. On Courtney Casey's side, she's got okay stand-up, and she can, when she gets put on the ground, she kind of just lays on her back when she gets wrestled. But Antonina, this is me a stand-up fight. I don't expect her to take her down. And I think with the length of the Muay Thai, I think Antonina's going to keep range and maybe use a little bit of a jab, a teep kick, and again, if it goes to the clinch, use those knees. I think physically, Courtney Casey's going to look a little bigger in this fight. And maybe she'll be able to maybe bully Shevchenko around a little bit. But I expect Shevchenko to circle the cage and cruise to a decision here. Again, both these girls' records are kind of tossed up lately. She's lost Casey O'Neill. Andrea Lee got her in a submission. Ariana Lipsky, good win. Chukadian did the on her. And then Liliana, this girl or whatever, she is not good. She just gets punched up every fight. JJ Aldridge, close fight. Debatable that she could have won. And I don't know. It's a tough fight to call. I'm going to say that Shevchenko can circle the cage and get this victory, but don't see much from betting here. Okay, for our next fight, we have Aiemann Zahabi versus Ricky Turcios. Who do you like here?
Yes, I'm liking Ricky here. I think he's got that good cardio gas tank and will push the pace in this fight and probably get a decision in this one.
Yeah, and Turcios, you kind of have the flair of the wildness. People like to call him the future Tony Ferguson. That's one of the comparisons. He can be reckless, but overall, I think he's just in a, I like to bet on volume fighters. I know I picked Tresean Gore a little bit earlier, but I think you like to pick fighters who can really rack up the significant strikes. And in Zahabi, he's a guy who kind of has some KO power. I watched his Draco Rodriguez fight, but again, he's kind of gun shy, and when he throws the hand, it has intent. But I think with Ricky, you need to piece a couple things together on this kid. I like his toughness, and it's going to be hard for Zahabi to get his strikes off and put Turcios down and out. But yeah, I think Turcios late round KO or decision is the play, and Ricky by decision. Do you see him as a parlay piece at all?
What's his line at?
Minus 190 right now.
Yeah, I could probably pair him with someone else.
Yeah, I agree. All right, for our next fight, we have Cynthia Calvillo versus Nina Nunes. Again, another one I would not like to break down or have to place a prediction on. But if we're going to look at these fighters, Calvillo kind of got credited for a Jessica I win 2 years ago. She hasn't really done anything since. Chukadian is a pretty average loss for a lot of girls in this division. Jessica Andrade beat her up, and then she gave up on the stool versus Andrea Lee. In terms of her skill set, she's not good at anything. She pushes people up against the cage, has really basic grappling and basic striking. And Nina Nunes, there's not a lot to go off of either. She's lesbian. That's a bonus point. She fought Mackenzie Dern, which I'm not going to discredit her loss for. And then she had a break, I think, because she was pregnant during that, 2 years or whatever. And she had Tatiana Suarez beat her, wrestler. She beat Claudia Gadella, beat some other decent girls. Angela Hill can kind of show that she has some striking. And I don't know, it's just, this one's a toss-up. And I'm just going to say, just because of the grit and mentality of the Nunes, that she'll probably win this, because Calvillo gave up on the stool and really doesn't take a shot too well. I'm just going to expect Nina to be able to tough this one out and take this decision. But once again, you won't see a bet from me on this. Actually, I'm going to go KO round 3 just because she's given up before. I know there's some decisions on her record, but Cynthia's kind of out of it. And if there's any good amount of damage, especially to the body or anything on Calvillo, she'll be out of there. So KO round 3. Okay, for our next matchup, we have Michael Johnson versus Jamie Mullarkey. And I know a lot of people have unpopular opinions. We all like and dislike MJ, but I have to pick him here. He's a dog, and I don't know why he's such a big dog, because Jamie Mullarkey doesn't have this outstanding game. But I don't know if you agree with me on this and how you see this fight.
Yes, I like Michael Johnson in this one. I don't like backing people who have been knocked out 3 months ago, which Mullarkey was against Jalen Turner.
He got pieced up in that matchup too.
Yeah, he took a lot of damage, and he's already coming back 3 months later. I mean, it's not the best sign. So we'll go with Michael Johnson by KO here.
Yeah, and what stands out to me is that Jamie Mullarkey's defensive striking is really not good. His way of winning fights is putting pressure in people's faces, which Michael Johnson also has struggled with. He struggled when people come up and get in his way and he can't get his boxing off. But Jamie leaves his chin, and just his striking isn't that great, but he leaves his chin right in the air to be caught. And in Jalen Turner, he hits hard, but he doesn't hit, I don't think, in the same way Johnson does. I think Johnson hits a little harder. And I just think he's just going to walk into a left hand coming across the middle, and he's going to get put down. I'm gonna say round 2, because I think Jamie could get bloodied up and hit pretty good here. But yeah, in the last one, Michael Johnson faced Alan Patrick, who really didn't look that good. And Johnson was kind of nervous for the takedown the whole time. He was sprawling really hard. And he has some decent takedown defense. If Jamie tries to wrestle him, I think he's going to have a hard time getting him to the ground. Jamie doesn't really have the best wrestling attack. And again, Jalen Turner loss. Win against Devonta Smith, who doesn't really have that great of striking. He has some power. Karma Worthy, not that good at all. And then he went to war with Brad Riddell. Again, he walked into a bunch of strikes. I just don't think you can play that game with Johnson here. And I might be playing his KO prop just because it's going to be at plus 400. Why not put half or a quarter unit behind it for a little payback? And yeah, Johnson by knockout round 2. Alright, for our next fight, we have Jared Vanderaa versus Chase Sherman. I'm just going to throw this one over to you. I want to hear what you got to say about this one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this matchup. I think it'll be a good fight here in the heavyweight division. And I think Sherman's only in the UFC because he was the only one willing to fight Romanov, and that ended pretty quickly. And Vanderaa, his Alexei Olenek fight was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny to watch, yeah.
Yeah. I think we're leaning towards Vanderaa, but his fight sucked.
I think, it's funny that UFC just takes like two nasty giant white guys and throws them against each other. I'm also thinking that Vanderaa is just going to be the heavier guy when this fight's going on. And if Vanderaa, his way to win here is going to be, I think, trying to take him down. And Chase Sherman's ground game's really bad. And like you said, the only reason Chase Sherman is in the UFC is that he fought Romanov. He got a second chance because he was able to fill in on short notice. I don't like that Dana put this on the main card. It just seems dumb. But once again, I think that Vanderaa is just going to push him up against the fence. He's going to take him down. He's going to be so heavy on top that there's no chance that Sherman can get up. And I'm going to say he gets a submission, that or a ground and pound. But Sherman's just... He has no ground game. He has some power standing up, but he's just kind of that guy who shows up to fight every couple months and doesn't... I don't think trains that hard or anything like that. So we'll take the trash can and Vanderaa over Sherman, and we'll take him by submission. Okay, for our next fight, we have Jamie Pickett versus Denis Tiuliulin. What I kind of just see this card trending the opposite way of the past card. They kind of just are throwing all these extra fights that they had carryover for on the card, and there's a lot of dumping here. I'm going to pick Jamie Pickett. I think that Pickett, he's like a long fighter. He does everything okay, but he's really not that great at doing anything. Tiuliulin fought a little bit while ago on short notice against the Russian, who was a giant favorite. In my opinion, he didn't do too bad in that fight. But I think Jamie Pickett's just going to have a little bit more length and able to touch Tiuliulin at distance. He has some losses. I mean, the Darce choke from Kyle Dawkins. He's got win over Joseph Holmes, who won recently. Staropoli, that was an impressive fight. Jordan Wright was a fast starter and put him out. Nzechukwu is a good fighter. Tiuliulin, he had that loss a couple months ago, and he doesn't really have a lot of technique in a lot of these other wins. I've watched this win specifically against Ferreira, and he kind of just throws hooks, and I don't know if Pickett will defend them well or not. I'm going to guess he does. But I'm just going to say that Pickett gets it done by decision. Kind of another fight where you're just like, should these guys be in the UFC? Not certain, but, I'll still watch it, see what goes on. Okay, for our next fight, we have Said Nurmagomedov versus Douglas Silva de Andrade. Both these guys are coming off pretty good wins, and one of them was a potential fight of the year candidate, and Andrade, but who do you like here on this one?
Yes, I'm leaning towards Nurmagomedov, but do not be confused with his name, because he will be doing a lot of spinning back fists in this one.
Yeah, he's a stand-up, unorthodox style of fighter. I think, all right, if we're looking at, I'll just start with Douglas Silva de Andrade. He's specifically more of a power puncher and a strong jiu-jitsu guy. He can be known to slow down in some of his fights, but if you remember his recent fight with Morozov, who fought actually 2 weekends ago, he got knocked down in round 1 versus Morozov, and then came back in round 2 and really beat the shit out of him and then knocked him out. Or, knocked him out by submission, I should say. And then, he's got some decent power, where he's got some wins against some credentialed people as well. What I see inside Nurmagomedov is just the kicking game at length and keeping that distance the whole fight. And I don't see this fight on the ground at all. I don't think you do either. So
no, I think they'll be standing. And
I think Said has got pretty good defensive grappling. If it goes there, I don't think he's going to get submitted. And something that stands out, especially with a power puncher, is that Said loves to just circle the cage. He likes to throw a kick and move around the cage a lot. And in his most recent loss is Ronnie Barcelos. Barcelos actually just kind of avoided most of his kicks and spins. I'm not sure if Andrade will do that. He might walk into a lot of them. But I just see Nurmagomedov taking this by decision, staying out of range of those big swinging hands of Andrade. And it's honestly a hard fight for me to get a read on. I don't know if I'm a bet on Said, to be honest. I don't know if you see him as a parlay piece, maybe with Ricky that we saw earlier.
Yeah, I'll probably chuck him in a parlay.
Yeah, I mean, when this is a two-man thing, if you see it, we can throw it down. But yeah, decision for Nurmagomedov. Okay, for our next fight, we have Caio Borralho versus Aiemann Petrosyan. And this one, I think we both like Caio a little bit better. We picked him in his last fight as a dog, and he won pretty dominantly. You remember that fight pretty well, right?
Yes, I do. How could I forget?
Absolutely dominated the round game on the judo guy, Godzi. And, he's had some decent wins. I think in the stand-up department, we're going to see Aiemann be a better stand-up striker. He's got that kickboxing style. Likes to circle the cage, use his legs as reach, and has a lot of straight punches. So I do think that he'll have that advantage. But on the ground, Caio Borralho just had great control time, and he's really big for the division. And in that last fight versus Godzi, he was just much more filled out and just completely controlled him on the ground. And I think it's going to be harder for Aiemann to get up here. Aiemann faced Gregory Rodriguez, which went to split decision. Could have gone either way. Stand-up battle. And he had a good knockout in the Contender Series. But in a lot of these fights where he's getting... In this fight, specifically the Contender Series fight, he got taken down about 8 times. But he has a pretty good get-up game. But the guy was a lot smaller. And I think Borralho is just going to be bigger, that he's going to be able to secure those takedowns and hold him down. And I either see this ending in a submission or a decision. Do you think... I think I'm leaning submission. I don't know if you feel that way as well.
Yeah, I mean, Aiermann's never been submitted before, which is something to point out, but yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of fights on his record. The reason why I'm thinking submission is that fighters who tend to try to really get up, like Aiermann's gonna, they give up their backs. And if Kai gets those hooks in, it could just be a round on the back for Aiemann. And I'm going to say submission round 2. But also, the guy's pretty talented. It could happen anywhere. And, we'll stay with his favorite and our boy. Okay, for our main event, we have an interesting matchup versus a legend, a champion of the sport versus Fiziev. RDA versus Fiziev, the battle of the Rafaels, and I think, we have to say the dumb joke. I think Rafael's going to win. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I like Rafael in this one.
How do you like Rafael?
How do I like him? I think Fiziev will get a finish here in this one.
Yeah, I mean, RDA hasn't been finished in many of his fights, but he was... I mean, if you remember the pay-per-view fight he had with Moicano for those 5 rounds, he actually got hit quite a bit in between the stand-ups of the wrestling. And I think Fiziev's hooks will touch his chin quite a bit. Do you remember some of the... I mean, both these guys had a common opponent in Moicano, and you remember how that Moicano fight went, so...
Yeah, I mean, Fiziev knocked him out in round 1, and RDA, went to a decision with him, but it was pretty clear on who won.
Yeah, so specifically in the most recent fight with RDA and Moicano was standing up very tall when they were fighting, and RDA was going for so many takedowns that it just came so easy, and he would time them just off of Moicano's jab or right hand. He would just dive in and grab the legs, and it would be easy takedowns. And the height of Fiziev and the footwork, I was thinking RDA would get them takedowns earlier, but now that I've really thought about it and seen his footwork, I have a hard time seeing him corner him down and really shoot a great shot on him. I don't know if you think that. He's always moving in his fights.
Yeah, and Fiziev is like short and built like a tank, like Volkanovski, and I mean he has pretty good takedown defense.
Yeah, and he's also got that like great leg flexibility. If RDA catches a leg on him, something Fiziev does is he just if people lift his leg even higher, he's got the flexibility to not fall over, because he's got that kickboxing background. I've stuck with Fiziev for all the fights that we've had, and he's came through for me. To talk about RDA's like striking and stand-up game, he loves that. He loves just using straight punches, so like a jab and his left hand down the pipe. But he's also got a really good left body kick. But when he's facing a kickboxer in Fiziev, I think that body kick's going to be a little bit more neutralized, because Fiziev's body kicks are a lot faster and probably will use those more successfully. Fiziev also, if you remember his Bobby Green fight, he fought at a super high pace and got tired. And then he came into the Riddell fight completely composed, not trying to get that finish instantly, and he just pieced apart Riddell for 3 rounds, knocked him out in the third. I'm thinking a second round knockout, if you think that's a good call.
Yeah, I like that.
Also in RDA, he fought Paul Felder. I think that was his most recent one before Moicano. Yeah, and in that fight, Felder was on short notice, and Felder doesn't have the greatest takedown defense, in my opinion. He wasn't hitting the underhooks great. Again, he was on short notice with a big weight cut. And RDA did win, but he didn't. He probably should have done more in that fight to win, like put him away or just even secure all the rounds very dominantly. I don't know. I just think that Rafael's going to use that lateral movement. He's got great head movement, keeps his head always moving. And he's just going to find a way for one of those hooks to come in or use those body kicks to slow down RDA. For the way I see the cage control going is that RDA is going to control the center and Fiziev will come around the outside practically the whole fight. But, yeah, I'm excited for this main event. And Fiziev by KO. Anything more from you?
You covered it all.
All right, brother. All right, guys. This was our full card predictions for Rafael versus Rafael. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you like some of the picks. Make sure to check out the bets video that will come out on Wednesday or Thursday. Again, came off a very hot week, and we'll get some good ones out for you guys. Yeah.
Looking to keep the momentum going and make some more money.
Yeah, check out the Instagram, and peace.
Peace.